Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, May 25th, and this is episode 20 of the Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Smackdown to Fox episode breakdown this week. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let us say that we are on YouTube and we are on Castbox. Feel free to follow us on there. So, let's get right on into this. As I'm sure you've heard by now, WWE Smackdown Live will be moving to Fox. It is in a $1 billion deal with the B. $1 billion getting this 5-year deal. And I'm here today to tell you why this deal is only good for WWE and no one else. And I'm here to break down why this deal is akin to an above average quarterback getting a new deal in the NFL. So let's start right on it. WWE Smackdown. Okay. Relating this back to the NFL, I did this with Brock Lesnar when he got his big deal with WWE, and what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I feel like doing this again. I think it is a perfect fit. Looking back at the NFL, Matt Ryan is an above average quarterback. He just got $150 million deal, $100 million guaranteed, the first ever $30 million per year NFL football player. Now, Matt Ryan is not great. He's the most paid player in the league, highest paid player in the league, but he's not great. He is above average, and he's done just enough to where his contract came up. And when it was time to pay him, the Falcons had to give every dollar, all the cents to him. And they had no choice. So, relating this back to WWE, look, WWE has done some great things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not out here trying to hate on Vince, because obviously you have to do something to keep the sponsors in. What they've done is they've switched the narrative with WWE. They've changed it from the Attitude Era style, and they've made it a family-friendly program, and that's kept the sponsors around. So I give them kudos for that. They've done a good job. They've kept the company up and well. Now, I can disagree with their booking decisions, but that's a whole nother deal. WWE has been above average in that standpoint. So, looking at when the contract was up for SmackDown, look, some people was going to be in for it. And there were rumors well ahead of the time that this deal went down that Raw and SmackDown would be sold from the USA Network. So I guess the surprising thing here is that it was separate, but there were rumors that it was going to be a huge deal, and WWE has done just enough to where it caused a bidding war for their television rights. So in that respect, I give them credit, but I see a lot of people out there saying that this means that WWE is as good as it's ever been. No, let's get one thing straight. Just because they got this $1 billion deal, don't confuse that with other eras. I see people, there was a picture with Roman Reigns on a stock picture and Stone Cold Steve Austin on another stock picture that said, well, they weren't pulling in these numbers when the Attitude Era was said. Just get out of here, man. Things change. And there are really people out there putting this on storylines, and Roman Reigns and other people saying that they got WWE this big, huge deal. And the fact of the matter is, people are not on Wall Street, and people are not looking at the television show and saying, well, this person is getting pushed the right way, so I'm going to settle in and buy this TV contract. No. Sponsors are there, And with sponsors come huge television deals. So WWE did enough in that right, and I'll give them the utmost credit in that response. But no, this is not because their product is as good as it's ever been. In fact, it's trending toward as bad as it's ever been if you look at Raw. Smackdown is kind of on the come up, but Raw is just horrendous. So moving on, why this is only good for WWE? Sure, it's huge money. Don't get me wrong. Huge money. It's a good deal for them. It's going to 3 hours. That's a good thing because sponsors. That is more sponsors for WWE. They put more advertising on a 3-hour program. But here's the negative with that. As I just mentioned, have you seen WWE Raw at 3 hours? Look, we got a good thing going with Smackdown Live going at 2 hours. And look, it's gonna all go down a cliff once this thing goes to 3 hours, because 3 hours is just a tedious time. That's more than a movie, for goodness sakes. Oh, that's just acts of movies, for goodness sakes. And WWE just doesn't know what to do with a 3-hour program anymore. You can see it for Raw, for existence. It just drags on and on and on for 3 hours. And I would hate for SmackDown to go down that same path. And it looks like that's where we're headed with this, because SmackDown's going to be on 3 hours on Fox. And sure, that's good for WWE, but it's going to be a drag for us. Looking at my next note I have here is no change. I have no change down here. With WWE pulling in $1 billion, look, this is even more reason for them not to upgrade their television programming or show any more of a reason to put on as great a product as possible for the fans that follow them loyally. Because WWE is in a lull at this standpoint, and with them pulling in $1 billion, it just gives them more of a reason to say, look, we don't need to turn anybody heel, or we don't need to do this storyline. We're just going to do what we want to do and still get $1 billion. And to be honest, there's nothing we can tell them, because sponsors are just paying for it out the wazoo. And this gives them even more of a reason not to change, but even more of a reason if things go further south as far as storylines go, as far as booking goes. This gives them a reason to say, look, we don't care. We're going to keep putting on Bobby Lashley's sister segments because sponsors just keep coming in. And this is a bad thing for us because, as I've said for quite some time now, we need something to push WWE. I don't know what that something is. We need another company to come in and push them. Whether it be New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, whomever, we need somebody to push them because that's the only way that they will change. That's been my opinion. We need somebody to become WCW. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen at the moment. So we needed something else, anything, for them to change, and the television deal was it. And I'm about to get further into it because my next thing I have up here is that people are bragging and justifying Vince McMahon because of this $1 billion deal. People are saying that, oh, how dare you question Vince McMahon, and how dare you complain about storylines. And like I said earlier, people are turning this into storylines. And about storylines as to why WWE got this $1 billion deal. And I'm just sitting here looking at some of these things and I'm thinking, you have just got to be kidding me with this troll job, because I mean, people are coming in left and right and saying that this justifies why Vince is a genius. And that gets on my nerves, to be quite honest, because when you look at all of these segments that we see every week, okay, there are some segments that, I'm not saying that it is all trash. Don't get me wrong. This is not a bang on WWE podcast in the least. But it is not perfect at all. Anywhere close to be quite honest. And to be quite honest, when it comes to this TV deal, it would have been better if the TV deal wasn't as great, if sponsors were pulling back, because at this point, that is the only thing that can change WWE. And I mean, with the sponsors coming flying in, I don't see anything changing from here on in. Whether that's a Roman Reigns heel turn, we're not going to get it because WWE doesn't care. So, looking at this, it's just bad all the way around. The only good thing I see out of this is that wrestling is getting a $1 billion deal. If wrestling is getting put at the forefront of something, then okay. I'm happy for that standpoint. But other than that, I mean, what can I really legitimately celebrate here, to be quite honest? There's not much to celebrate at all other than that, because I know that this is going to further enhance WWE to say that we are not going to change no matter what you say. We don't care about the fan opinion. And that just hurts me, and that just, I don't want to say it hurts, it just annoys me, because we're going to be stuck with Bobby Lashley's sister segments from here on in. So, those are pretty much my thoughts on the Smackdown move. Look, as for Smackdown being on Friday nights, I'm not the biggest fan of that at all. I don't like my wrestling on Friday nights. I was never a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. Of New Japan currently is on Access TV. They're on Friday night, and I check on that when I can, but I would rather be on another night. But it is what it is. WWE went for the money, and Fox wants them on Friday night. WWE fans are going to follow them to Friday night, so they're not going to lose their audience that much. But what they do have to look at here is that I get uncomfortable when these other networks get in on wrestling, especially as it pertains to WWE, because USA Network is a sure thing. And sometimes some of these networks get skittish about wrestling. As we've seen before with Time Warner and WCW, that Time Warner just got skittish about wrestling. So I'm worried there. Maybe Fox will pull back at some point. I'm worried about that standpoint. But we'll see how it all turns out. I wish them the best, but it's only a good thing for WWE. So let me know down below, what do you think of the Fox deal? What do you think of the Smackdown to Fox deal? Let me know down below.